Hello, welcome to cPacket Network's presentation regarding network observability for high-performance computing here at SC21. My name is Nadeem Zahid. I'm VP of Global Marketing at cPacket. I'm not going to take much of your time here, and before I kick this off, I want to make sure that you don't miss the opportunity to enter the prize that we're giving at the end of the day, which is a Nintendo Switch. And what you can do is just scan that QR code there, right there, and fill a very short survey. It's like 6, 7, 8 questions. Shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes, and that will have your name entered to win the prize. You don't have to be here. If you're here, you can grab the prize. Otherwise, we can ship it to your contact information. With that, let me kick it off. So I want to really start with this bird's eye view of how Ethernet is doing in the HPC cluster, especially in the top 500. We at cPacket particularly focus on Ethernet observability, hybrid observability, but based on Ethernet TCP/IP protocols. And so, if you have Ethernet in your cluster, obviously we are the company to talk to, especially low latency Ethernet. So you can clearly see here from the top right that Ethernet is really popular, in the lower half of the top 500 list. So really, it starts kind of actually at top 200 level, but it sort of, the sweet spot is really top 300 and below. And over the past sort of 4 years, the share of interconnect by Ethernet has stayed pretty healthy, and this penetration really expands as the list kind of fans out. And this is particularly true about academia and industrial HPC systems that are not able to either afford, InfiniBand because of due to the economies of scale of Ethernet, or not willing to switch for many other reasons. So while the 10 gig has been sort of being replaced, 25 gig and higher speeds such as 40 and 100 gig have been on the rise in those environments. So when it comes to combination of low latency, high speed, high performance Ethernet and analytics and observability, that's the sweet spot where cPacket focuses. So whether you are from any type of HPC environment, it's financial services, high frequency trading, oil and gas exploration, pharmaceuticals, manufacturing, entertainment, academia, defense, others, and we focus on monitoring and observing certain attributes of the Ethernet fabric that pretty much is common regardless of what kind of workloads are running on top of it. And those attributes include particularly latency, bandwidth, throughput, reliability, and economics. And by economics, I mean here is such as, not really the price per port, but it's, saving you money through under-utilization of your links or capacity planning for future proofing, those type of things. So if we zoom into this typical high performance, low latency Ethernet network in HPC clusters, this is a very common, very familiar generic architecture that I'm sure you're very familiar with. Typical front end and access compute nodes, connecting compute nodes, as well as the back end interconnect connecting your storage arrays. And so we have the capabilities to tap into multiple points of this network and monitor highly virtualized east-west traffic on the server side, as well as latency monitoring at any points strategically in the network, the cluster, even across the clusters, having throughput and interconnect monitoring on the back end, and intercluster monitoring over long haul, where you could have multiple 100 gigs running over LR optics, for example. So what we really do and how the solution looks like, right? What kind of devices we have. We have a series of 100 gig taps that you can deploy anywhere in a cluster. If you are thinking or you are experimenting with HPC in the cloud, then we have an equivalent solution for Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud as well. And we partner with all of the three to get the packet data tapped in the cloud as well through multiple approaches. Then we have a series of packet brokers range from 10 to 100 gig, as well as virtual packet brokers that would basically process that traffic and feed it to observability layer as well as to the capture layer as well, and process. And our packet brokers have a very unique monitoring feature that I'm going to talk about that are particularly well suited for low latency observability and are very much liked by our HPC and HFT customers. Then we have the capture appliances and devices that basically can take the packet data and write to storage. So that would be, we have petabytes of storage, up to 2 petabytes or so on premises. You can also have cloud storage. So if you're running, in HPC, you have a lot of jumbo packets, you can fill those pretty fast. But generally for applications such as TCP based workloads, TCP analysis, or security forensics type of applications, you're going to have a rolling buffer strategy. But we do have those appliances where you can record the traffic and analyze and replay the traffic for troubleshooting and other situations. It's a high value use case. And then we have our observability layer where we would consume all this metadata collected and would basically give you the service level indicators or health monitoring of your cluster, and have analysis and alerting capabilities across the full hybrid environment. So having said that, this is another view of how we work, for example, with our close partner that we closely integrate with Nvidia. Nvidia should not be a new name to you being an HPC environment. So whether it's Nvidia or Mellanox Fabric running on the right side, we deeply integrate with the Nvidia technology. We even use some of their technology in some of our aggregation packet brokers running on Mellanox switches. And then we also are integrating with their what just happened technology for the high level observability. So whether you're running Nvidia Fabric, which is sweet, or you're running third-party fabric, somebody else's fabric, Cisco, Arista, or Juniper, for example, it doesn't really make much difference. We're going to have a very uniform observability layer built here with what we call a two-tier monitoring architecture. And this gives you a sort of a closer look of how very high-level observability dashboards would look like and what kind of SLIs you can get. We help with situations such as quickly narrowing down the root cause analysis and isolating whether it's the network or not the network, or application versus the network, so you can rule that out. And we help with TCP workloads, particularly in HPC environments, and a lot of TCP centric KPIs, whether it's errors or retransmits, connection issues or round trip times, server versus network. We also measure and report on one-way latency, asymmetric routing issues. There are many more KPIs. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time, but I really encourage you to see our demo right after this presentation. And this is another example of server versus the client side, particularly useful for the master node side of the HPC cluster, where you are submitting a lot of jobs, and gives you depending what's your reference point where you deploy your probes, can give you very good visibility in your cluster. Again, the challenge here is doing these and extracting these analytics at very, very high speed. So it's the combination of high speed analytics running on top of high speed, such as multiple 100 gig networks. One very popular feature that particularly is loved by our financial customers, such as high frequency traders and exchanges, is Seabust, which is a proprietary feature that can actually give you much better microburst characterization compared to anybody else in the industry with millisecond resolution. And this helps in many ways, such as measuring under overutilization of your I/O and links, and as well as capacity planning and spotting invisible congestion points in your network that are rather not easy to catch. And so very powerful feature for HPC and HFT environments. So with that, I don't want to take any more of your time. I would again remind that please scan the QR code here, fill the short survey, so that you can enter to win the prizes that we are giving up today. Number two, you can step over there, talk to at one of our demo pods and talk to one of our SEs and dive into any of the aspects I just talked about and see this in action. We highly encourage that. And you can grab more prizes from our booth over there. And then last but not the least, you can scan the other QR code over there on the main counter and download our digital collateral that you can read during your flight. If you're interested to know more about cPacket, don't forget our website, and again, stay in touch, and hopefully we'll talk again. With that, thanks for listening.